not even cool to accept another man's child. So we're not getting married no more. And now we don't even accept other men's child when another man's child, if it's your race of people, that's your people still. These are our children who we won't accept because that's not my kid. But it's your nation's child. He's a member of your nation. But we don't feel like we have a nation. We just all Americans trying to get a green dollar and with a picture of our conqueror on it. It don't even have a picture of us on it, and that's all we worship, right? And then we get that green dollar and don't want to spend it on nothing but be ourselves. Spend it on yourself. I mean, I don't believe that should be the focus anyway. Right? Because the focus has to be governing yourself, policing yourself, jailing yourself, judging yourself, feeding yourself. You have to do those things. You have to do those things. And if every single group of people on the entire planet can do all 5 of those things, how come so-called black people can't do it? We're the only people who's dependent on an entire different group of people to do all of those things for us. And the group of people who we're dependent on openly said up until the 1960s, and they still said it afterwards. It's just they openly in unison were saying it up until the 1960s that we don't mess with y'all. We don't mess with y'all to the point that we made laws that we don't use the same water fountains as you. We don't mess with y'all to the point to where you are not allowed to sit on the front of the bus. You got to go to the back. We don't mess with y'all all the way up to the point where we have a different movie theater for us than we have for you. We don't mess with y'all to the point where we don't have you can't stay at the same hotels. These was laws. You can't use the same bathroom. You can't use the same swimming pool. These was laws up until the 1960s. And this is who we decided to integrate with. And then we wonder why we don't have nothing. So how can you decide to integrate with somebody who half of them say, at least this is what they try to say, because more than half of them had to agree to make all these laws in the first place. But we just agree with their story. Martin Luther King had a dream, and he just convinced everybody to say, hey, look, let's forget about all that, those, let's just change the laws and move on, and everybody sing Kumbaya. And how's that worked out for us? How's that worked out for us? That ain't worked out for us. We used to educate ourselves. We don't do that anymore, right? And that's part of our biggest problem. We don't police ourselves. We don't protect our women anymore because why? Because we integrated. So who protects our women now? The police. All the police, not all of them, but the overwhelming majority of police are so-called white people. Overwhelming majority. The overwhelming majority of police are so-called white people. The overwhelming majority. And that don't count the other groups of people that are not us. So that's who's in charge of protection. You have taken what you were in charge of before integration, because nobody was allowed. So-called black people could not call the police, and they was going to come help them before integration. It was separate. It was segregated. We lived in segregation up until the 60s. 1964 Civil Rights Act. Everything was segregated. And the police included. Okay? They came and messed with you, but you couldn't call them for help. They wasn't about to help you. Okay? So, if they wasn't about to help you up until the 1960s, and Martin Luther King had a dream, and now we integrated, and racism was still out really in the open still in the 1960s, because it was all kind of so-called white people still saying we should not integrate. Whole lot of them saying, no, we don't want to integrate. We don't want that. We don't agree. But they passed it anyway. They passed it anyway, and we knowing that at least half of them don't agree. And we moving forward with it to integrate while people are with signs and tanks and everything else to get the children to go into the same school while they're getting harassed. And we all know how that worked out. So we go through all of this civil rights fight to be a part of integration. And what did we also integrate into? The protection. What does a man supposed to do? What is a man supposed to do? Protect. What does a woman look up to a man to do? Protect her. If you got little brothers or if you got little sisters, what does the little sister do when she getting picked on at school? I'm gonna go get my brother. Don't make me go get my brother. I'm gonna go get my boyfriend. I'm gonna go my husband. Right? This is what they do. They not about to sit up here and fight. Now you got some nowadays who sit up here and try to fight you themselves, right? Because they know you so scared. They know you so scared. I'ma just call the police 911, and they know you're gonna run, right? Why? Cause you gave over your biggest power of protection to a group of people who at least half of them openly hated you on television, telling you they hated you in the 1960s. And we supposed to believe that, well, since 60 years later, racism don't exist no more. Those half of the group, of at least half, that openly come out and just tell you, wearing Klan hoods and everything else, that they don't like you. You gave your power of protection over to them. And then you wonder why you get shot. You wonder why you get pulled over. You wonder why you get sentenced 50 years for the same crime that a so-called white man does. He gets...
This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.